Hey world, I'm Sherry, but people call me Switz. I played Division I collegiate basketball and played professionally in Switzerland and Romania. After playing ball, I moved to Brooklyn and met fashion designer KEMBALii at a New York City party, and the rest is history. We are giving dope individuals a platform to share their journey and connect shared passions around the globe. Welcome to the KEMBALii podcast. All right, everyone. Welcome to the KEMBALii podcast. It's your girl, Switz. This show right here is dedicated to elevate dope individuals, share the journey that they have been on, and connect people around the world with shared passions. Today, I am so happy to have Tone. This dude right here, he's been in film production, radio host, advocate in the hip-hop scene, comedian. I mean, dang, you just have your hands in everything. So I kind of want to just hand it over to you, give you the spotlight. And for people that are going to start to follow you on your journey, kind of let us know like where you grew up and how you got to be, you know, what you're in right now.
Thanks, Switz. I'm in a very fortunate position. I've been on the grind for years. You know, there is no such thing as an overnight success. What you're looking at here is over 20 years of trying to make it somewhere. And I still feel like I haven't scratched the surface, but I've been fortunate to work with a lot of great people, be associated with a lot of big platforms, and just be a part of some great projects. Doing a lot for the unsigned artist community in the music side. I'm entertaining people, keeping them from killing themselves through comedy, you know, just making people laugh as well. It's been a little tough through the pandemic to get up at the comedy clubs, but I've still been making the people around me laugh, so that's good enough. Can't wait till they open things back up in 2029, whenever they decide to open shit up.
It might take a decade, but talking about other individuals that you rally around the comedy, that's actually a perfect segue because I'd love for you to talk a little bit about I'm Funnier Than You.
So this is a comedy series that I started, believe it or not, like 3 months into me doing comedy, because I understood that in order for you to get seen, you have to create the opportunity. You can't just sit around and wait for people to find you funny and give you stage time. So I started a show titled it I'm Funnier Than You. It's not an indication that I'm funnier than anybody. It was more like an inside joke that one of my friends said at a club one day. So no one ever gets that, but.
And then you're like, trademark, taking it. That's my shit now.
Totally. I was totally on that wave. I was like, I want to claim this before anyone else. And we've actually run shows in New York City and in LA. Yeah, we took it to the West Coast.
Oh, so you're like transcontinental with this right now. East and West. How many people do you have involved with you right now? And then I'm Funnier Than You.
Small operation, you know, it's just me and my buddy Evan. And then we have a few people who help us out with the behind the scenes stuff, getting the flyers made. You know, you always need a team with you. That's something that's huge. And when you work within the entertainment industry, you can't do anything by yourself. You need people supporting you. You need people helping you. You can't do everything. You need people who know how to do digital stuff. You need people who know how to do the social media thing. And that's another thing I've been fortunate with. Any venture that I've dived into, people have always been on my side. Like, yo, how can I help you? Or can I be a part of this? And it's like, you know, anything I touch is like, we start to make a brand out of it, because that's the way things are geared in the social media age. You got to build a brand out of everything.
Yeah. What sparked it? Like, how did you find out like this was your passion and what you wanted to do in the entertainment field with unsigned artists, with comedies? Like, where did it all start? Like, where did Tone become Tone?
That's a great question. I think when you're young, you watch. I mean, obviously, I watched a lot of TV. I dedicated my whole life to watching TV. As a matter of fact, my initials are TV, Tone Viera. Okay. I love TV so much that I used to watch it up close, and I went blind because of it. That's how addicted I was to TV. So I knew that in some way or another, I was going to be affiliated with the entertainment industry. And comedy came about because I had always watched comedy and been drawn to it. I don't know if you're familiar with the Nutty Professor movie, but there's a scene where Eddie Murphy goes one-on-one with Dave Chappelle in a comedy club, and that scene really got to me. And I was like, I would love to do something like that when they just be on stage telling jokes, not getting heckled by Eddie Murphy, but just being on stage. That's when I knew comedy was something special. And then I had the opportunity to start doing improv, which is associated with comedy. And then that's how I found my lane, being around people who were in the comedy world. And then I started from the bottom, literally going to open mics and then hence doing my own show because I wanted to be seen by more people. And here I am now, about 6-7 years later, going strong, still trying to make a name for myself. Comedy is really tough because there's so much competition. You know, you got to put in like 15 years just to be somebody in comedy. So I believe I'm somewhat halfway there.
Yeah. I love that you talked about an overnight success doesn't exist. Like you're at 20 years right now. There's so many comedians that has just toured and grinded to get where they are. You mentioned the Nutty Professor, some greats in that movie. Do you have anybody else as kind of like an inspiration or, you know, the comics that you watch growing up or any shows in particular where it just kind of grew your passion even higher?
Man, believe it or not, I used to be a heavy fan of the sitcoms. Like,
What's the sitcom? All right, tell me what like top 3 sitcoms. I got to know now at this point.
I don't even have to think about it. Let's just go like this: Full House, Family Matters, and Saved by the Bell. Those were the shows that I watched.
Saved by the Bell?
Those are the shows I still watch to this day. I have a Hulu account just so I could watch those shows.
Wow, shout out to Hulu. We're going to have to get you a sponsorship at this point. Shouting them out like that. So any other projects that we should be on the lookout for that you're involved in? Because like I think I mentioned like 4 different things that, you know, that you're doing right now. What else would you like people to know, like how they can follow along with your journey?
Man, this is crazy. I just got back from a West Coast trip literally a few hours ago. I still haven't even made it home from the airport. I stopped by a friend's house and we were in LA. We were doing interviews with some rappers. So we're affiliated with this huge hip hop account called Boom Bap Nation. You can follow them on Instagram. They have hundreds of thousands of followers. And on Facebook, they have, I think their reach is crazy. They get like 3 million impressions a week because they're an aggregator site that's focused on just paying tribute to these rappers. So I've teamed up with them and another co-worker of mine at SiriusXM, and we host a show called The Infamous Hour. Every week we bring in legendary rappers and we talk to them and we just kind of try to make them relevant again. So that show's fun. A lot of people tune in. We do it live on the Boom Bap Nation streams Facebook. So if you guys want, feel free to follow Boom Bap Nation on Facebook. Every Thursday night, you'll see me just pop up on a live stream alongside the infamous Amadeus. And last week we had rapper J.O. Felony from the West Coast because we were actually out there in the West Coast. And we had DJ Quick stop in. He's a legendary producer and rapper from the West Coast. In the past weeks, we just had so many big names. We've had Cool G Rap, Cassidy, 112. The names are endless.
112. Sorry, every time I hear 112, I feel like I got to do an R&B thing real quick. Well, yeah, no, you shout out the things that you're involved in the platform. Give yourself a shameless plug. How can people follow along with your journey?
Yo, guys, I like Instagram the most. I feel like Instagram is the platform that I'm comfortable with. So follow me on Instagram at tone.viera. That's tone.viera. Follow my journey. You know, whenever I post cool stuff. I post stories. I post positive messages for people because during this time, a lot of people they don't want to admit it, but they're going through it. I've had the fortunate blessing to still have a job. And I have the blessing of having a great family around me and great friends. That's one thing the pandemic reminded me, that I had great friends in my corner. And throughout the pandemic, I've been able to talk to them, just kind of like catch up with them because the entertainment industry keeps you very busy. And I've just been able to reconnect with them and just see what's going on with their lives. And they support me and I support them in whatever they do. And at this age, you know, you realize that the most important thing in this world is your loved ones. All this other stuff doesn't matter, but it's fun to do it because I also do love to entertain and be behind the scenes of a lot of productions that you see. So here I am now. I'm a producer. I'm a radio host. I'm a radio show producer as well. I produce events. It's like, what am I not doing? I think that's the better question, but I just try to stay busy and focused and positive because, you know, that's how it's got to be. I wish I had a more elaborate, deeper answer, but that's just how it's got to be.
No, that was perfect. I mean, the fact that you kind of segued me perfectly, because what I always like to end it on with a positive note, because I can already feel it through the screen. We're positive individuals. You want to keep that kind of energy around you. What would you say to those watching that are just kind of trying figuring out the blueprint? You know, someone trying to be the next you, being involved in so many platforms, behind the camera, in front of the camera. You know, if you were speaking directly to them, you know, and they need a little bit of motivation, what's the message you'd like to share with them?
Make yourself available. Be everywhere you need to be. Talk to everyone. Don't be afraid to open your mouth. you never know what one opportunity can lead to. If I was to like sit here and give you like a timeline of my life, you would think it's crazy how like one thing led me to another, to meet another person, to meet that person, to meet that person, to meet that person, to get me like, you know, some kind of opportunity that worked out to my favor. So talk to everybody. Don't let your ego take over you, because you can be extremely talented, but your ego can keep people away from you. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So tone that ego down.
Talk to him, Tone.
Make yourself available and keep a humorous attitude, you know, make fun of life before life makes fun of you. That's one of my quotes. You know, you got to be cheerful in life. That'll keep you looking young, and it'll keep you healthy, because laughter is good for the soul.
Health is wealth at this point in this state of the world. I mean, you heard it from here, right from Tone, you know, stay on the grind, maybe take, you know, a podcast while you're in the middle of dropping from a flight from LA before you even got home to where you are in New York. We are literally living the grind that you're on right now. So I appreciate you letting us open up into a little window of your world. So I am Switz. That is Tone. We appreciate y'all for coming in on the KEMBALii podcast. So please stay tuned for everything that we have coming. We appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the KEMBALii podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at KEMBALii Podcast. KEMBALii gear can be purchased at www.kembalii.com. That's KEMBALII.com. And you can stay up to date on merch drops by following the KEMBALii brand on IG at KEMBALii_. New podcast episodes drop every Monday at 7 a.m. See you next week on the KEMBALii podcast.